Hello and welcome to another AIC Productions video. Today I want to do just a quick update. I replaced the control arms up front and the sway bar links both front and back on my Mazdaspeed protege. So I apologize, I don't have actual footage of doing the swap. I did actually get my camera, got it charged, got it on the tripod, got it pointed at the car. But then my friend who was coming to help me was running a little late. And when we came out to work, I forgot to hit the record. So I just wanted to go over real quick some of the things you'll need to know when you go to do this repair. These are actually quite inexpensive. You can buy new ball joints to swap out and new bushings to swap out. But that's almost, just for the parts, almost as expensive as just buying the arm. But by the time, unless you have a press, you go to press these out and you pay a shop to do that work, you've bought the arm and then some. You probably pay for what you'd pay for one arm, you'd probably pay just buy two whole new arms. So it's not really worth doing. Go ahead and just buy this whole arm. I'll put a link in the description. I bought these on Amazon for like $35–40 each, so not expensive to do and not that difficult to do. They came out pretty easy. You need 3 sizes of sockets. You need a 17, and the 17 takes off that, and there's 3 bolts on that, or 4 bolts, excuse me, for that, and I'll show you those here in a moment. You need a 14, and I'll take off this, and a 14 to take off this, and then I bought new Moog sway bar links, and the new bolts are 15mm, so everything's metric on this car, fortunately. Unlike my Jeep, where it was a terrible mix of both metric and SAE. Sometimes on the same part, it would be different. And that was very frustrating. But anyways, so a 17 get most of this, 14 to get that and that off, and then a 15 to put this on, and a 17 put that, and a 14 for that. You reuse the bolts for these. This came with new nuts. So let's lay down and get under the car, and I will show you what we're looking at under the car. Alright, so you see the nice pretty new control arm there. I've turned the wheel out so we can see in here a little bit better. So that bolt there is 14mm, and it drops out. The ball joint pops out from the bottom. There is the new sway bar link. These are greasable links. This one I messed up a little bit on. I thought I was clicked on and I wasn't. I pumped a bunch of grease, made a terrible mess of it. These are much easier to grease off of the car. I forgot to do that before I put them on the car, or at least this one. I did the other one off the car, did this one on the car. So this again is 14mm. I'll get to the other side to show you the front of this, because of the way the wheels turn. It'll be easier to do it from that side. And then you have these 4 bolts holding the back of the control arm. Now, I will say, this control arm was not easy to get on until my friend and I figured it out. The best way to get it on is that bolt that goes, it's right up here. You put that in first, and you get it threaded, but you don't tighten it down. And then you take this bracket, and you don't connect this on. You don't put it up in there because you need this to come up way high. You turn the wheel like I've done here, so there's plenty of room here for this to come up and not hit anything. And in fact, if you can, actually use like a bottle jack or something to jack this up kind of out of the way as much as you can so that this can come up. And then what you do is you leave this bolt out, you push this up here, and you screw in those 2 bolts and this bolt here, and you get it tight. Not, you know, like, you don't torque these down, but you get it up tight, and then you can push with a big, like, flathead screwdriver. I have a really big one to push this over, and then you jack up, push up on this to get this bolt threaded, because this ball joint is not straight. It's almost like they've forced it to put some pressure down on the wheel, and so you have to get that hole for this bolt lined up, and that's a pain to do. But again, the trick is to leave this bolt out, have this and I'll show you again on the other side, this bolt threaded, not tightened, just threaded, because if you don't thread it now, it's impossible to get back on. So you thread that one first, put this bracket on, get these 3 bolts on, then you lift this side up as high as you can to then feed this through, and you may need to come in here just to push it with like a big flathead screwdriver or a pry bar of some kind to move it over. I had to move it over about, I don't know, 3 or 4 millimeters, half a centimeter, to get the hole lined up. So let me go show you on the other side, that other bolt. Alright, so this is that front bolt there, is that round cylinder. So there, you don't access the nut on the other side, it stays in place. You just access this bolt from this side. And it's important that you get this in there and threaded, because if you do not, you cannot get, at least I couldn't get this straight to line this hole up. I had to take all the work I'd done apart and get this lined up to feed this through. So it was not fun, it was not easy at all to get that through until I took everything apart again and did it first. Once I did it first, then it was easy. And here's another look at the ball joint from the other side. It's 14 millimeters on both sides there, and you just feed it through, and there's a divot there that feeds through and holds it in place. So nice and easy. Once you have those 2 on, this pops on pretty easily into place. So that big screwdriver comes into play again a little bit, just to help you kind of move things around. Obviously you're not going to want to yank too hard on anything, but just so your hands are out of the way and you pop it into place. So with the upgrades, I had a lot of clunks in the suspension, but upgrading those 2 things, the sway bar links and the control arms, it reduced that significantly. Oh my goodness, huge difference in just the overall ride quality of my Protege. Now I still need to do the ones in the back. These ones I think were like $35–40 each. Again, I'll put a link in the description on Amazon. Is where I bought them. It was cheaper than Rock Auto. It was the best deal I could find. But the ones in the back, there are 3 per side, and a couple of them are only like 25 bucks each, so that's $50 per side. But then the other one's like $64. So pretty expensive. Not any one particular item, but for the fact that there's 3 per side, so that instead of just 1 per side where it's just two things, it's 6 total items, so that adds up pretty quickly. Again, not very expensive, but yeah, definitely something I'm going to have to save up for and do all at once, because this is one of those things where you want to do both axles at the same time, or excuse me, one axle at the same time. You don't want to do just one side, you want to do both sides, so that way your tires wear more evenly, because you have the same wear level on all your bushings and everything, so your tires wear more evenly, your suspension rides more comfortably, and things like braking and steering and things like that are safer, because things all happen at the same time in the same way, because things are the same. Just like your brakes, you shouldn't replace just one side, you should replace both sides. Now I haven't done a review on these hand-cooked tires, but I really like them. They've actually been some of my favorite performance tires I've had yet. I haven't driven them back to back with my other favorite that I had previously, which were the Continental DSWs, which I really like those, but those were on a very different car, so it's hard to judge without having the same tires. But they're quiet, they have excellent traction. Now I'm in Arizona, these are summer tires, so I basically run them all year long, especially this winter. It was cold for like 2 days. Other than that, it's been in the mid 70s and beautiful. Today is January 5th, so it's been beautiful weather all summer long, or all winter long. For us, this is winter. So anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day.